I'm Ben Nicholls, a musician, and I guess I'm the person who got together the Kings of the South Seas project. I was on tour and stumbled across a book in a second-hand bookshop called On the Missionary Trail, which is a book about some missionaries who were going out on a whaling ship. And reading the book, there was a lot of interplay between the whalers who they were going out with, the missionaries, and then when they got to the South Seas around Tahiti and Hawaii, there was this complicated scene that built up between the two. The whalers were obviously often a very bad influence on the places where they visited. The missionaries were teaching the locals maybe that was a pretty bad way to go. So there was this cultural clash, and that was just what was being imposed by sort of European influence. So I looked into that a bit, and then I wondered, well, what was the background to this? What was the music that would have been going with these people? I applied for one of the creative bursaries at EFDSS, which kind of fitted perfectly with what I wanted to do, because it enabled me to look more into the project, use the facilities in the library at Cecil Sharp House, and get the advice of various people who work there who were incredibly helpful. The music is mostly, well, entirely based in traditional music, perhaps other than the hymns, which are more of come from obviously a sacred music background. In finding the song, they were tracked down from various different sources. You kind of take the essence of what you feel the song is about, and then you try and set that into some musical structure which pulls off the emotional side of it to the best of your ability. In terms of the way it sounds, that was part of that was in the choice of the musicians who were going to be playing it and their styles of playing. Richard Warren, I've just come across over the years in various different things. He's just a great guitar player and does great solo stuff himself as well. He's a kind of atmospheric musician. I did a recording in Belgium, which is actually on a rock album, bizarrely, with Evan Jenkins, who's the drummer in the project. He's kind of a fairly heavyweight jazz musician. And what I wanted to bring to this project with him specifically was to create this, almost improvisatory flow to the music. It's especially easy if you have a small band. You can be much more sort of reactively dynamic as an ensemble if you know each other's playing very well. The bigger the group of musicians, you've got to be a bit more prescribed as to what you're doing. So the idea is to keep this small band and just keep holding fairly up in the air. I think the thing is with a lot of the whaling music, it's pretty brutal stuff. They had horrendous lives, and they were doing some pretty horrendous deeds when you actually analyse their day-to-day life. And so I was trying to get something which reflected that brutality, which was why I got that song that things together. The type of concertina which I play is the crane duet concertina. Itself has had a pretty checkered history as an instrument. It came up at the very end of the 19th century and was fairly rapidly adopted by the Salvation Army. Very few of them were ever made, and how many of those are still in existence, it's hard to know. With the double bass, I started when I was, I guess I was 12, which is quite a long time ago, and started playing in a jazz trio. So by the time we were kind of 14, we were going out doing gigs in restaurants and bars, which was great because it just, the thing is, as soon as you start performing in public, your skills go because you just have to get it together. From there, I went on to study classical double bass for a few years in London, and then had a very checkered path of different bands. After that, it was through a producer called Ben Nicholls, who had a studio in Brixton. I was living around the corner, and he was doing a session with Cara Dillon's band. And so I went to play on that album, and then that was, I met Seth through that, and then and found myself sort of firmly entrenched in the folk world. In a way, it doesn't make any difference which instrument you're playing. Well, to me personally, I can be playing any instrument as long as I think I'm making a good sound in it. I'm more than happy. The plans for the future with Kings of the South Seas, we obviously have our launch gig on the 18th of November, which is going to be an interesting night. We have a film which has been made, which is going to be projected behind us playing, by Adam Clitheroe, who's a great documentary director, which is going to be lots of stills and any moving imagery we could find that's related to the scene, and all the strange world of the South Pacific, and all the stuff that came back to do with this fear of cannibals which they had, and some of the missionary hymn stuff. So that'll be projected behind we're playing, and to open the evening up we've got Philip Hall, who's a writer. He wrote the book Leviathan, which is, I guess, a kind of philosophical look at whaling, man's relationship with whales, and all that kind of stuff. So he's going to be doing a reading and giving a talk about some of the background to it first. So it's going to be sort of whaling themed, whales and whaling themed evening. So it should be good. And the plan is next year we're going to try and get a tour of that together with Philip, and try and take it around the country.